Hey everyone, it's me, John Lorden. Welcome to another edition of Itchy Mysteries. Yes, this is the week leading up to Halloween, so I wanted to dig deep and try to find something a little different for you guys. And what's tough about this is when I think of Halloween, I think of, sure, spooks and gags, trick or treat, but really there has to be some type of element of fun to it. And I know that a lot of the stuff that I cover on Itchy Mysteries is a bit dark. I mean, we're talking true crime, we're talking about things that really happen to people, and it wasn't quite hitting me right that I should cover something like that. So I found something that's a bit of a different type of mystery I think many of you are going to enjoy. This film is called Resurrect Dead, The Mystery of the Toynbee Tiles. Now, if you don't know what the Toynbee Tiles are, welcome to the club. I was exactly in your shoes when I started this, and that's part of what's kind of fun about this documentary, is coming to discover what are the tiles, what do they mean, and then who's responsible for them. So in short, a Toynbee tile is a tile that are being placed and found all over kind of the eastern United States, but also in some other countries around the world. And the tile usually says on it, Toynbee idea. In Kubricks 2001, Resurrect Dead on planet Jupiter. And yes, that is a straight up reference to Stanley Kubrick, his film 2001 and Space Odyssey. And that's part of the mystery that will be unraveled as you're watching this documentary. What does that basic message mean? And who is, like I said, who is responsible for it? So let me read the plot summary for you from IMDB.com. Strangeness is afoot. Most people don't notice the hundreds of cryptic tiled messages about resurrecting the dead that have been appearing in city streets over the past 3 decades. But Justin Duer does. For years, finding an answer to this long-standing urban mystery has been his obsession. He has been collecting clues that the tiler has embedded in the streets of major cities across the US and South America. But as Justin starts piecing together key events of the past, he finds a story that is more surreal than he imagined, and one that hits disturbingly close to home. And for me, there is kind of 2 layers of story that are going on in this documentary, which I really, really appreciated. For documentaries, a lot of the time you're watching it and kind of what they give you is what you get. Where, I mean, like literally the message is being conveyed so directly. They're trying to show you pieces of evidence usually, particularly for these types of documentaries that I review here. And yes, you can decide if the person is lying or telling the truth, but they're showing you what they said and you're meant to take that at face value. The cool thing about this documentary is there is a story going on at that same kind of face value level, but there is a much deeper story about humanity going on. This documentary, to me, almost feels like a well-written book. Essentially what you have here is Justin Duer, who is a bit of an artist, a guy that got kicked out of high school and kind of went his own way with life. The film includes a bunch of his art, which is really interesting and cool to look at. And he is chasing the mystery of what appears to be another artist, someone that is using a bit of a guerrilla marketing tactic to spread their message. And he is trying to understand that person's art and message much better. Now, what's great about this is he puts a team together and they do a bunch of really good investigation. They get a list of suspects going, they go and they talk to people. One of the highlights of this film for me is they go to a neighborhood in Philly, and the characters that pop out of this neighborhood, it's just really cool. There's a very authentic feel to these people. It's not people that I know in particular, and you guys know when I watch these documentaries, I really get excited when I'm given a piece of culture that I am not familiar with. And that certainly happens in this documentary. Outside of that, it's cool seeing his art, as I mentioned. It's pretty well filmed. Nothing in terms of super great visuals of, countryside or skyline or anything like that. But a bit of a grittier street level. And in particular, the music really stood out for me. There was moments where I found myself really engaged by the music, and it seemed to fit the context of what was going on extremely well. And I don't know if they had this scored by someone or if it was literally just songs that were put together for the soundtrack on this. But whoever was doing that job of putting music together for this film did an excellent job. So of course I can't spill the mystery for you, but I can tell you the real underlying story in it for me is truly almost like this states. It's about a man's obsession, but it's not just about the guy that's trying to figure out the mystery. It's also about the obsession of the guy that is creating the mystery. And that gives this documentary a really cool duality that I don't see a lot in documentaries of this type. Like I said, usually it's just a very one-page, here's what you're meant to understand type feeling that I get from these films. But this one hit me in a bit of a different way. Despite the fact that it's not about some true crime occurrence or a missing person or someone being killed or something along those lines, there is a real seriousness to it, mainly because of Justin's level of obsession with it. But there's still also a bit of a creepy factor that's going on in this. I mean, I read the message to you guys. It sounds like there's something really deep to understand in that message. And maybe there is even beyond what you get out of this movie. But there is certainly a good Halloweenish creepy vibe to this, and I really like that by the time you get to the end of it, it's not a heavy, like I said, it's not a tragedy that you get to at the end of this. At the end of this documentary, there's actually this kind of little ribbon of beauty that is happening throughout this story that I think many of you out there will feel. Now, is this for everyone? Probably not. I would say if you are more artistically inclined, if you're someone that is a painter or someone that writes music or someone that makes YouTube videos or something like that, you might be drawn a bit more to this film than other people. However, I think the general mystery will still grab a lot of people out there. And judging by IMDb, the rating on IMDb right now is 7.5 out of 10. It looks like many of you out there will certainly enjoy this film. It does also pop up on best of lists for mystery documentaries. I have seen this title pop up in a few places, so I was really happy to finally spend some time with it, give it a shot myself. And I gotta tell you, it did the job. I was stuck from the first minute in and I wanted to see it all the way through, and when I got to the end, it was a really good experience that I felt like I had with it. I hope that you guys will have the same. But one more time, just let me throw out there, I don't think it's quite necessarily for everyone. Some people might look at it and go, who cares, the tiles, whatever, some whack job or something like that. If you think that you're quick to judge on things like that, perhaps this documentary might not do it for you. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Itchy Mysteries. I hope you have a great week, a wonderful Halloween, and I'll catch you on the next show on the Lord and Arms channel.